Coming up next on Adventurer, part 2 of my interview with billionaire Warren Buffett's son, Peter. More when we return. Welcome to Adventurer, the show where people truly push their lives to the limits. No talking heads here, just the real deals. I'm your host, Jim Clash. Last time we talked with musician Peter Buffett about his new album, Staring at the Sun. Today we talk with Peter about what it was like to grow up as the son of Warren Buffett, the world's most famous investor. Welcome back, Peter.
Great, thanks.
We talked a little bit about your album, Staring at the Sun, in our earlier episode. Today we're going to talk about your father, Warren Buffett, and what it was like growing up as his son. Now, you're one of 3 children. There's one brother and one sister. You're the youngest.
Yep.
What was it like growing up as Warren Buffett's son? Did he encourage you to become an investor, or?
Not at all. I mean, you know, people say now, because I'm in music, he's in business, gee, isn't he sort of disappointed? And I say, we do the same thing. We do what we love. And that's what he infused. And my mother as well said, you know, find something you love. That's the key. And they really hammered that home in so many different ways. And so it couldn't have been easier, you know, really to be his son. I mean, people have these projections of how life must have been like. And, you know, he drove a Volkswagen when I was a kid, and I remember it running out of gas. And I went to public school all through, you know, and he still lives in the house I grew up in. And so I go home and sleep in my bedroom, you know, to this day. So there was none of the stuff that surrounds so many people's imagination, you know, with growing up wealthy. And in fact, he wasn't that wealthy. He was wealthy by Omaha standards, wealthy by, you know, the world standards, but it didn't show up anywhere in our lives when we were kids.
It's not conspicuous.
Not at all, exactly.
And, you know, I remember once talking to him for a story I had to fact check, and he wanted to bet me $1 billion on the Nebraska-Florida game. And you know what? Nebraska won 55-7. And it was supposed to be a close game. So I don't think your father makes that many mistakes. He
doesn't make that many mistakes, and that can be a little frustrating growing up because he pretty much knows everything you know, plus a whole lot more. And most dads do in a lot of ways, but he really did. But, you know, the older I've gotten too, what I realized listening to other kids' stories growing up in whatever situation, he was always consistent. I mean, he was there, just like his investing. You know, you can count on it. Same thing with him as a father. He was always home at 5:30, always at the dinner table, always reading after dinner, you know, for hours. And his temperament never wavered. So you knew what you were getting all the time. And that's a blessing in a father.
Well, if he's so consistent, let me ask you this question. With all the recent market volatility, I would assume that your father would say, just stay the course. And not sell or buy, just hang in there. Is that what you would?
Yeah, he calls it the Rip Van Winkle approach, right? Where you can fall asleep for 20 years or 100 years and wake up and you're still okay. And so he would say stay the course. Berkshire's certainly doing well, so people must think that's a safe investment. It's either that or my album, you know.
Now, what does your father think of your music?
He likes it in the sense that he's a dyed-in-the-wool Glenn Miller fan. So he's never going to embrace it and say, I love this stuff. But he knows that other people love it, and so he appreciates it. He loves the fact that I love doing it and appreciates it for sure.
Would you say that you have a lot of your own money invested in Berkshire Hathaway?
Well, I've done a lot of things in the Native American culture, and once upon a time somebody said my name should be 2 shares. So let's just say I've got some money in Berkshire.
Where else do you have it?
Well, you know, the funny thing is, us kids we don't have that much. You know, that's the other misconception. So it's usually paying the rent, or you know, paying the bills, or in Berkshire. I mean, for sure, that's a safe place. And you know, funny enough, my dad would say put it in T-bills or something. He wouldn't even say put it in Berkshire because he doesn't want to take responsibility for anybody else's money. But we're smart.
You know, we have him, I think, worth about $48 billion in our Forbes 400 ranking. I don't know, you know, if it's high or low, but to me, that kind of the 3rd richest man in the world. Are there any security issues with you and your? You
know, it doesn't seem. We've never thought about it really. His feeling is you start to protect against it and you start to draw it to you. So he's never really pushed security.
Okay. If you had any advice to give to young people, as your father gave to you, what would it be?
It would be the same thing. It would be find a passion. You know, Joseph Campbell said, follow your bliss. You know, find something you absolutely, you know, it gets you in the gut because everything else comes. If you're really passionate about it, you'll work the hours, you'll do what it takes because you love what you're doing.
And the money will come.
Yep,
or
exactly.
enough money to survive.
Yeah, right. And the happiness will come, and you'll probably live a lot longer regardless. So,
Peter, it's been great talking to you. Wish you the most success with your album, Staring at the Sun, hence the sunglasses.
Exactly.
Come back and see us again.
All right, great.
Okay,
Thanks very much.
Again, musician Peter Buffett. I'm Forbes adventurer Jim Clash. To read my column, pick up Forbes magazine or click on Forbes.com/adventurer. And thanks for watching the Forbes.com video network.